They hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Hey, what's up with it, fam? It's Hot Boxing Minute, your favorite pharmaceutical engineer turned boxing analyst, back at you with that uncut realness, because that's the only way I know how to dish it out to you. We had a big fight this weekend, Frank Martin against Michel Rivera. According to Ring Magazine, Frank Martin was the number 7th ranked lightweight in the world, and Michel Rivera was the number 8th ranked lightweight in the world. Unfortunately, it isn't often the case in boxing that we get two undefeated, talented blue chip prospects going at it in their early developmental phase, but we did get that treat the other night out there at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. Frank Martin won by a wide 12-round unanimous decision over Michel Rivera. It wasn't as competitive as many of us thought it was going to be going into it. The story of the fight essentially was Frank Martin's superior footwork and combination throwing against a hesitant Michel Rivera. There was even a point where there was a knockdown in the 7th round. The judges' scorecards were pretty wide. Judge Tim Cheatham scored at 120-107, Dave Moretti scored at 117-110, and Dave Weisfeld scored at 118-109. That means everyone pretty much unanimously saw it as a wide decision win in favor of Frank Martin. And I wanted to take this video to show you a technical breakdown of what was the most glaring mistake that Michel Rivera was making that Frank Martin was capable of exploiting. Now, I think if you were just on the surface to look at it, you would think, oh, Frank Martin is just vastly superior with his athleticism and speed. But if you look in the past fights of Michel Rivera, he is an athletic, fast dude himself. What this came down to was schooling and training and proper technique. Now, if you look in this clip here, you'll see Michel Rivera tries to throw a jab, but as he does, he loads up heavy on that front foot. Now, the problem with loading up heavy on that front foot is it limits your mobility as you try to get out of the way after you throw that jab. And to make things even worse, once he throws a number 2 behind it, a loaded up cross, which is his bread and butter, Michel Rivera gets so heavy on that front foot, he elevates that back foot. Now, if you'll notice here, as he does it, Frank Martin fully exploits it. Now, this was the story of the fight pretty much. It was Michel Rivera being very heavy on that front foot, repeatedly making the same mistake, and Frank Martin taking advantage of it, even including the very simple fundamental concept of getting your foot on the outside foot. When it comes to southpaws fighting the orthodox, the aim for both fighters is to get their foot on the outside of the other person's front foot. And Frank Martin, of course, as you guessed it, had his foot outside more often than not against Michel Rivera's lead foot. Now, this presents all kinds of problems as far as your ability to move because it restricts your ability to get your foot out of the way, obviously. Now, as far as sitting down into your punches, which is what we saw Michel Rivera doing with his front foot, he would get very heavy on his front foot. I want to show you this clip of Dimitri Bivol. Now, Dimitri Bivol's bread and butter, like Michel Rivera, is that 1-2. But if you'll notice, Dimitri Bivol stays heavy in his back foot. This is what you call sitting down in your punches. You want to stay seated down in your punches because when you're heavy in your back foot after letting off your combinations, it allows you the wiggle room to escape and get out immediately, as opposed to being heavy on that front foot. You always want to try to avoid being heavy on that front foot when you're boxing because it does have a detrimental effect on your mobility. Either way, big shout out to Frank Martin. The potential opponents being thrown at him so far that are catching the most ground with the general public are Isaac Cruz and Edwin De Los Santos. Who knows at this point? The sky's the limit. Boxing community, for those of you that saw that performance of the Ghost Frank Martin giving Michel Rivera his first loss, what did you think? And what's next for Frank the Ghost Martin? What's next for Michel Rivera? Let me know in the comments section. Y'all hit that like button. Press follow if you haven't already done so. This is Hot Boxing Minute, folks. The future of boxing analysis on YouTube and TikTok. Peace.